You got this fantasy in your head about getting out of the life and setting that other world on its ear. What the fuck are you gonna do except hustle?
We are here. We are here. Getting here. It's your boy, the coach. Welcome to the Coaches Huddle, where the field meets family. And it's the off season, guys. We're here into the thick of it. Into the thick of it. Into the thick of it. Oh. We got an off season to get ready for. First thing I want to do is get some housekeeping out of the way. I will be calling the playoffs, but not the wild card round. It's a lot of games, guys. We're looking at 6 games: Rams, Vikings, Bucks, Commanders, Eagles, Packers, Texans, Chargers, Ravens, Steelers, Bills, Broncos. I can't do them all. And picking one out of the other just seemed a little bit too much. So we're going to wait till we get to the divisional round outside of the wild card. That'll leave us with 7 games at large. We'll have 4 games, Chiefs, Lions, whoever. Then we'll play the other 2 games out of the other 2 games. We'll get the AFC and the NFC championship game. And then, of course, we'll call it the Super Bowl. But right now, it's about the Niners, man. It's about the Niners. And I want to hear from the faithful. The link is pinned in the chat. And, we can go with recent news. We can go with old news. We can go with, having a retrospective of the season, right? Looking at the retro. We could do any direction that you guys want to go into. One thing that I will say, the closing or the exit meeting from, the exit meeting for the 49ers with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. That was interesting. A lot of things came up. I did a little bit of an exercise and counted how many times John and Kyle combined mentioned injuries in all of their answers. It was 26 times. 26 times, man. 26 times. I think that they came off with a narrative that they need to reload. That this was just a lot of unforeseen circumstances that happened to them this offseason. Kyle Shanahan mentioned time. As far as time that they mentioned, and more specifically with time, as far as Kyle is concerned, Kyle mentioned that, he was going to be happy to have more time going into the offseason to be able to fill out the coaching staff, to be able to make the moves on the coaching staff that he needs to make. Nick Sorensen was let go, the defensive coordinator, but I feel he was relieved of the position. He wasn't fired. That's very important. Nick Sorensen was not fired. He was relieved of his position, which means that he is still under contract for the 49ers, and the Niners want him back. More likely, they will want him back as the special teams coordinator. Nick Sorensen previously had special teams coordinator experience. I don't understand why he's still in the building, but there you go. There's a lot of things that got answered over the in that exit meeting. One thing is that Deebo Samuel is here to stay. John Lynch was asked about what they're going to do with Deebo, and in one of the most cringeworthy and awkward times in the press conference, John Lynch replied that we're not in the business of letting go of good players. What? What good player? Come on, man. You got to get that together. I'm sitting here trying my best to watch the cursing. I am. And I'm doing good. But when you hear stuff like that, come on, John. Come on. Also, Kyle Shanahan pretty much put a rubber stamp on Brendan Staley getting consideration as the defensive coordinator. And I like that. That had to be one of my favorite parts of the press conference is when Kyle pettifogged the idea of Brandon Staley getting a shot at the DC. He was here. You interviewed all season. We know what we got. Christ. So that's something else that came out. Also, I got a theory on Brock Purdy, and I have Nafka, I got Nick up. Thank you guys for waiting patiently. You guys are coming up. But they doubled down on Brock Purdy being in the organization, which I'm not mad at that. But I got a theory, man. Hear me out. The way I see it is that if you're fearful if you're the 49ers, well, if you're Kyle and the coaching staff, is because you're like, dude, we don't want this guy to get ridiculously paid. Okay? We understand why this guy, he elevates us, but only from a certain position. Other guys need to be around him, which is no slight on Brock. There is no successful quarterback that does not have weapons draped around him. It is what it is. Write your congressman. But the main point is that I believe that if there was ever a time to negotiate with Brock Purdy for his deal, it would be after a season like this. And I got to believe that John and Kyle and the organization are thrilled that they got a little bit of funk on. They got a little bit of funk on Brock, and his jacket isn't as clean. And they given themselves quite the bargaining and leveraging power when it comes time to negotiations with Brock. And I believe it would be stupid or crazy for John and Kyle not to back Brock. Full-throated. Pause. Throated. Okay? So, nothing really came up about the draft, yada, yada, yada. Deebo Samuel's still staying, blah, blah, blah. Dre Greenlaw also came up. There's mutual interest on both sides. It seemed as though that Dre is kind of, trepidatious about getting out into the market because who knows? There could be another, Tennessee or another team that could give Dre another 3-year whatever. I'm more along the side of giving Dre a 1-year prove-it deal. He's able to come back onto the team healthy. He's got a full offseason to get himself together. He'll still go back on the market and he'll up his stock. And he gets it. He's able to be seen by the league with more favorable eyes. And we get a chance to get 1 more year out of him. I think signing Dre for 1 more deal will be awesome. Also, Talanoa Hufanga and Mooney Ward are topics of discussion. That's going to probably be an either or. So, yes. Oh, Trent Williams, 100%. Nothing's wrong. There was a lot of nodding, smiling, and blinking in this press conference where you get the feeling that there was a conversation, particularly with Kyle. As far as demeanor was concerned, Kyle looked the best he had ever looked all season. Am I tripping? Is it me, or did he not look rested? Clear-eyed, might I say? Attentive? Leaning into questions? I don't know. But let's go, Nick. Let's get it going.
What up, Coach?
My guy.
What's going on?
How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Hold on. I think you're muted.
Am I muted? Can you hear me?
Can we hear you?
I can hear you.
Hold on. All right, my bad. Go ahead, Nick. Sorry, go.
You got me?
I got you, brother. Go ahead.
How's it going, Coach? How you doing?
Good to go, brother. Let's go.
So a couple things. Are you on the solid camp for DC, or who do you like? Because I kind of want Lou Anarumo.
All right, so I like Lou. Lou would be a fresh start. Lou will be a new voice. But, okay, so I listened to the press conference. It really doesn't serve them, in my opinion, it doesn't serve them to how can I say, retool. They're reloading in their mind.
Oh,
They're 100%, right? Yeah. They're reloading.
I think in their mind, they know they got probably one more year of this BS where.
Well, at least they think they do, right?
Yeah, I mean, don't you think, though, with how the roster's presently constructed, that it's kind of like they have to retool? They can't rebuild. Like, you got guys that are aging. How much longer? Like, they wasted Fred and Kittle's All-Pro year this year. They wasted it.
True.
They wasted it. So how many more years can you waste stuff like that? Because George was awesome this year, in my opinion. I thought George was a top 3 player on the team, in my opinion. I don't know how you felt.
George Kittle?
Yeah, George really, really put his stamp on, saying, like, I'm not going anywhere, guys. I could do this for a couple more years. But
yeah, George. I mean,
that year though, that drives
I agree with that. I think George had pretty much one of the best seasons of his career.
Agreed.
For this one, so I think that George and both Fred's season. I think Diamond Lenore kind of had a really good season. And I don't want to say the seasons got wasted. I just feel as though that they played up to standard. Right.
Yeah, maybe that's the right wordage. They played up to standard where everyone else was not up to
standard. Exactly. Yeah, they gave us this.
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think about the comments about Brock? Well, they were very full. There was full participation. Everybody, they're backing them.
Kyle,
how do you feel about those comments?
Be here till I'm here. That's what Kyle said.
That's what he said.
So I was thinking that I'm like, when's the last time? Like, one thing I will say is, when is the last time you saw Kyle go to bat for a quarterback like that? Kyle never said that about Jimmy, Trey. Like, he never said that about anyone. But my thing is, to your point about the negotiating power, I think that's a real thing because I think they're gonna be like, Brock, can we meet in the middle here somewhere? Like, we know that the quarterback market is completely outrageous.
Right.
We know that. However, you know how we negotiate, Brock. We're not the team that's just going to give you $60 million. If anything, we're the team that's going to break that cycle because we're hard negotiators.
Right.
So if I was Kyle and John, I'd go to Brock and say, listen, I'm going to give you 4 years, 160. That's 40 a year, I think, if the math. Yeah, that's 40 a year.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, a really good number for Brock. Because if we start getting into the $55, $60 million, we're going to have to treat Brock like elite, like, unfortunately. That's just what the money's going to say. It has nothing to do with anyone's perspective on him. That's just what the money's going to say. And I think you said it in your stream a while ago. If Brock comes into in the negotiation table and think he's getting 55, 60 million, that hurts his perception around the team. Because everyone thought he was like that, that team first guy, not worried about the money, just wants to win, good team around him. I think that if Brock goes in there thinking he deserves 55, 60, I think that hurts his leadership on the team. And other guys are going to be like, Kyle, can we just have this dude for one more year and just move off of him?
Okay.
He's not that good.
All right. So I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you a little bit. And everybody else who comes up here too, I want you to understand something. The money that Brock gets paid, right? That 50 to 60, that basically that 40 to 60 million dollar range that we keep pontificating about. Let's be clear about this. There is a clear distinction between salary and cap. Okay? So, I'm of the mindset where I do not care how much money Brock makes a year. I don't care.
You just care about that cap hit.
I care about how you chopping up the fish scale. How is this thing going to go on the books? I don't care how much money Jed is paying him. That's none of my business. If Jed want to pay him $60 million a year, that's Jed's prerogative. You can do that, Jed.
That's not your money.
That ain't our money.
Yeah, right.
Our situation is, how are you putting this in plain black and white on the contract, and what's his average years on the cap? When do we get outs? right? Is it essentially a 5-year deal, but really a 3-year deal? Because his money
Brandon
runs
Ayuk,
out in
essentially.
exactly where his money runs out after 3 years, and then we got 2 years of when we start paying him big money. Like, I need to know where the outs are. I need to know where we really start paying him big money on each year in the cap. That's what really matters. Like the money that he makes year to year, like the big sexy number, that's Jed. That's Jed's money.
Totally. Yeah.
So
Right.
that's my biggest thing is that they could pay him up anyway. I don't care what they pay him. But how are you chopping that up? How's that getting chopped on the books? Now, if you want to pay him like he's still there's a world where Brock Purdy could be making $50 million a year, but for the first 3 years of his deal, he's still getting paid like he's Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, he's making like $2 million on the cap, or like
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and then he's getting his money, but really on the cap, it doesn't hit until later. And then the Niners have an out after 2 to 3 years where it's like, all right, well, we've seen enough. It's time to move on from you. Now, that would ridiculously kill our books down the road. We'd have void years and all that other stuff.
We got
However,
a ton of those things coming.
hey, man, Brock may get the Chrysler 300 deal, but it's you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but he may get, it may be a Phantom, but it's really a Chrysler 300. Like, it's like, it looks crazy. And it's like, man, look at the rims on that thing. But when you really pop the hood, you're like, this is a V6, dude. Like, you just say, this contract ain't really hitting on nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that I want to keep clear with Brock's deal is that you're going to have a lot of people that are going to keep pushing that annual average of like, oh, the $60 million, $40 million quarterback, $50 million quarterback. That's fine. All of that's good. As long as it comes back on the books the right way.
No, totally. And my next question for you would be, when you kind of hinted at it with between like Hufanga and like all that stuff, I personally wouldn't bring back Hufanga just because I think that I don't know if he's good enough to, like, I would rather just get a new safety personally. Cause
Okay, on Huff?
yeah, just because, like, this might be a hot take with some fans, but he was an 8-game wonder, bro. He was just good for 8 games. That's just what it is.
I mean, we do a lot of 8-game wonders on this team, so you never know. I mean, whatever. So I'll put it like this. Huff, I don't know. I think he's earned one more year. I'd let him see. I'd let him walk from a position just to see what the market says, right? Mm-hmm. And I doubt that he's going to be like a first-time guy to get signed. And if he does, I won't be a contender, in my opinion.
Yeah, it'll be some team like Tennessee just trying to throw money around. And
yeah, my biggest thing with our safeties is that they get guys like Malik Mustafa. I like Malik, right?
He had a good year.
Box safety comes down into the box, comes down into the hole, like really delivers a blow, physical guy. We need a true free safety, bro. We need a real free safety. We need a cover. We need a cover one, three-thirds of the field, like safety. We need a center fielder, bro. And we don't have one. We haven't had a true free safety on this team in a long time. So I'll tell you.
Javon Holland. That's who I'd go get.
Yeah. That's a name. That's a name. But I'll tell you, man, like on defense, we need a free safety. I think Mooney's gonna walk. We need a free safety and we need another corner.
So that was my next question. Do you think a bigger question mark is the defensive line or corner?
Defensive line for sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
No question.
Yeah, because I think Renardo Green's like that dude. Like I think he's like really, really good.
I mean, yeah, like in my opinion, like look, I'll tell you this right now. In my opinion, the defensive line is kind of like the nuclear reactor of the team. It's how the team was built. Even at our best, we've always put into the front seven. They
always, when we were really good, they had 8 guys that
waves.
were really good. And most of the time, like the 2021, 2022 defensive lines, like our backups would be starters on most teams. Like that, Charles Omenihu, Arden Key, like those guys are really good secondary depth pieces. but they were playing so good where it's like Charles O'Menahue was really, really good for us, and we let him go for Javon Hargrave, who just didn't work out.
Hey, man, there's another way for us to get it together, but the first thing that we have to do is start through the draft. Nick, I love the call, man. I'm about to get NAFCA
one
up.
more thing, Coach.
One more thing, brother.
One of my biggest issues with John and Kyle is they always sell on guys a year too late than a year too early.
You know what? I'm going to keep that theme for the rest of the show, and I'm going to start with it. Everybody start getting your questions up. What is your biggest issue with this season?
Yeah. All right, Coach. Be good, brother.
All right, brother. Talk to you. Let's get my guy up out of here. Let's get some super chats out of the way real quick. James Donuts, what's up, my guy? $4.99. Coach, aren't we losing Ward? Don't we need another cornerback? Just talked about that. Yes, we do. And Bill Kennedy, my guy, $1.99. 30 for Brock, 30 to build the trenches. We'll see. 30 for Brock would be unreal. I don't think that's a little too rich, Bill. I love you, but I don't know, Bill. That's way too team friendly. I think he would hurt the league by taking that. NAFCA, what up, though?
Broccoli.
Broccoli.
How you
What's
been,
good,
Sally?
bro? Hey, what's your biggest issue with the season before you start?
My biggest issue with the season is how Kyle and John Lynch have been dealing with the players, right? With the contract negotiations in the beginning, Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk, that really just put a bad taste in my mouth. And just how they mishandled the whole season. Seriously, to me, I know you said it wasn't a waste, but I think it was a waste for sure.
Of George Kittle and George Kittle and Fred Warner seasons.
Yeah.
Well, I just
100%.
all right, yeah, okay. From that aspect, I'll shoot you some bail. I get that, but for me, I think that these guys. It's important to know who the true core members of this team are, and you got to show up and be a pro, right? And when you get guys, you have to start having hard conversations. I know this doesn't sound cool, but once you're done with the production of the player, if he's going to be around, the best thing you better be doing is start coaching up the dudes below you. You know what I mean? You got to start being an ambassador of the culture. So, yeah, I understand that they had great seasons in a losing season, but for me, I feel like that's the avatar to go in to get another guy, to go get a rookie to play under George Kittle, to go get another linebacker to play under Fred Warner, to go to just keep it going. This is kind of like legacy building when you have a good team. You can't get so caught up on these names that you forget the type of player that you're going for in the first place. Right? What came first, the chicken or the egg? The Niners were here before Fred Warner, before George Kittle. You see what I'm saying? We went out and got the standard. So that's my point.
No, definitely. Also, wanted to ask you, if you're making one major change this offseason, what is that major change?
Offensive line, just the trenches.
Okay.
Just the trenches. It's really that simple.
Would you make a move to get what was that dude's name? Is it Mike McDonald or the boy from LSU, the tackle?
Yeah. Okay. I would definitely. Yeah. I would definitely take him 11 if he was there. Hold on, I forgot his name. Let me see. Offensive line. Will Campbell. Will Campbell, so for me, this is. If it was up to me, I would invest heavily in the offensive line and the defensive line. If we're going best available, I'd probably try my best to get Trent's replacement in this draft. It should have been last year, which kills me because when you're trying to find a player as special as Trent, you got to find special drafts. Last year was the draft to do it, but whatever. So this year, I'm going pass rusher or I'm going tackle. Okay, first round, best available. At 11, if we're staying at 11, if nothing's really there at 11, I'm trading back. And I'm going to get the interior of the offensive line and the defensive line fixed. You can find pass rushers all over the place. They're like luxury rental cars. They're just sitting there, in the lot, collecting dust. All right.
Let me ask you this then, because the way they have the boards 1 through 10. They're saying the number one linebacker coming into this draft out of what is he, Georgia? Out of Georgia should be there at 11. Now, would you, if he's still there, would you get him or would you draft back and work on a offensive lineman?
I'm not really high on taking linebackers first overall in like high draft picks. I mean, linebackers are it's kind of a situation where you either have one or you don't. There's really no such thing as like warming up a linebacker. For our, and especially in our position, we find guys that you can get in later drafts. It's a position that because you do so well at it, I wouldn't waste such a high pick on it, right? Like my thing is that you want to get whatever you get in the first round. My biggest thing with the Niners, with us, is that whatever we get in the first round, we got to start getting guys that like matter, like immediate difference makers in the first round. You know what I mean? Like no more players that fit our scheme that are just really good pieces that are going to optimize what's already here. We need guys that are definitely we need guys that are going to break through and be a problem for us. Like, case in point, like we need another Deebo Samuel. We need another George Kittle. Like we never had a CMC. We had to go trade for one. But if you can, you know, a guy like Ashton Genty, like you need, if you're going to get a guy at the 11th pick, he's got to be like an instant guy.
Oh, so so there's a realm where you would get Ashton Genty, even though we might still be getting possibly a healthy C-Mac and getting JP and getting Isaac.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay. I think that's the one thing I might have to disagree with you on. I don't know if I want to. I think the scheme, especially if we're going to keep Kyle, we have had so many no-name running backs come into that organization and was like, dang, okay, I didn't know Isaac. I'm going to keep it real with you. All I heard was about his speed. That's it. But then when I saw that boy play, I said, okay, I see what Kyle and John Lynch or whoever made that decision to pull the string on him. I said, okay, this is a good look. They saw something I didn't see, and it fits the scheme. Like we've had running back after Raheem Mostert. We had who's the guy that's in Miami with Raheem Mostert. We've had backs, so I don't know if I would go high. I'd get an offensive line.
I'm just not so sure. My biggest issue is that I've seen what Kyle has done with a player when he believes that this guy can basically utilize his offense. I mean, he called Christian McCaffrey his blankie, for Christ's sakes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's unreal. You know what I mean? But when you think about that, like, my opinion is that you're going to need a player that can basically survive Kyle, you know? And that's what Christian McCaffrey was last year. He wasn't being meticulously used. He wasn't being intelligently utilized by Kyle. No, he was being spammed. And he was the one who was surviving Kyle until he couldn't. And then when he came onto the field where you thought, okay, well, Christian's not as healthy, you know what I'm saying, but he's back. We'll see Kyle kind of pace him out. If anybody knows this kid, it's got to be the guy who freaking babysat him, okay? And you get out there, and he gets 20-plus carries from scrimmage, fresh out. When he runs a wheel route against the Cardinals, and he can barely walk off the field. Right? Yeah. And then you turn Jordan Mason stone cold, all right, and then throw him in the middle of a blizzard and wonder why, man, he's not starting right away. Why he's not starting? Why is this car not starting that I haven't touched in 3 weeks? You know what I mean? So, my thing is that, yeah, man, if you're gonna get a guy where Kyle's just gonna call plays, go ahead and get the back, man, because I don't think that CMC is gonna last the season next year.
Wow. Okay.
Not if Kyle uses him the way he's accustomed to. CMC had almost 400 carries last year.
Jesus.
Come on, man. He's gonna take whatever Kyle get. Whoa, pause. But he's gonna take all the carries that Kyle has for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. All right. What's your prediction for next year for us?
Well, it's a very soft schedule. We have a last place schedule, which we haven't had in quite some time. Yeah,
like a decade.
Yeah, I do believe that we're going to bounce back in the trenches. My biggest issue with Kyle this year, if I could answer the question, is I think that Kyle coached around deficiencies. He coached around areas of his team, and it hamstrung him. Where we just weren't recognizable as a run first football team. We're going 3rd and 2 on the goal line and we're going 5 wide. We're on the 18-yard line and we're going 4 wide. We've got about 7 games this year where we didn't run the ball. We abandoned the run. We've got games in the rain where we've barely run the ball. Like the running game, the run effort against the Packers was embarrassing. Maybe like 17 carries. So my biggest issue with Kyle is that what type of team you've had because of how you coached this year, and it's not confusing. It's not confusing that we're seeing the type of offense being ran. It's Kyle calling around that bad offensive line. It's Kyle. That's why we're not running the ball. That's why, but in certain instances, you can see him coaching around it. But at the same time, you can see the lack of trust, because then you see a Patrick Taylor Jr. run when Kyle has no choice but to use him. You see what Patrick Taylor Jr. does inside the trenches. So, I mean, I don't know, man. For me, I just want him to get all of the players, because right now we're just not a good team, right? I'll close with that. Jake Brindle is not, I don't care how many. Coach Forrester should be, come on, man. Stop lying, brother. Jake Brindle is not a good player, man. Stop.
Yeah.
Aaron Banks had a horrible season. He got outplayed by not 1, not 2, but 3 backups. All played better than him at left guard. Aaron Banks, Nick Zakelj, and Ben Barch all outplayed Aaron Banks. Okay? Like, that's a problem. He can't be on the field anymore. Right? If Kyle Juszczyk is not the player that he used to be, I like Juice. Like, I gave Juice a lot of grief over the season because it was just fun to do. But in all seriousness, Kyle Juszczyk is not as strong as he used to be. Right? So he's got to go.
I'm glad you brought that up right before I go. My last 2 things is they gave Kyle Juszczyk a nod for a second all-team. And I thought that was weird. I didn't see enough for Kyle Juszczyk to be there. Maybe it's just a limited number of fullbacks out and they just gave it to him by default. But I thought that was kind of odd. You know what I mean? It was like a participation award.
Bro, they can give Kyle Juszczyk the Medal of Honor. I still want his ass gone.
Stop.
Like, he got to go. I'm sorry.
Hey, man.
Hey, man, let's close this one out, man.
Yeah, I love the shows. I always look forward to you during the week. Everybody, please like, share, and subscribe. It's very free, 99. It don't cost you a dime. So keep doing what you're doing, Coach. We're supporting you out here.
Hey, man, love all of the support and the engagement, man. Call back again, man.
Peace.
All right, brother. Tommy.
What's up?
What up? What's good, brother?
Just chilling, man. How you doing?
Good. I love that jersey, man.
Oh, yeah. I've had this for a long time. It's like 10 years.
That's a snazzy alternative. That joint looks cool.
I don't know what to talk about, but we were talking about the D-line last time, but yeah, what you guys were talking about, the running the ball, it's just like, how's a run-first team that can't fucking run the ball, excuse my language, it just irritates me so bad. This Brendel character should not even be in the NFL. He shouldn't even be a backup, for God's sake. Do the right thing, retire.
But you know what kills me about Brendel is that I see why they like him, and it's still not enough.
He's athletic,
yes,
so to speak.
There you go. He's very athletic. He gets to the second level with ease, but he's a 1-count blocker. He blocks for literally a second. That's it. Just enough to say hello. And then it's like he doesn't even stay to get to take his jacket off. And
he just sits and watch plays develop.
Yes. Yes. How many times do we watch Jake Brendel run to his assignment and then start looking around? Like, all right, I did what I did. I did what I was supposed to do. What are you guys going to do? It's ridiculous. He's very smart, okay? He's very rarely wrong. He always is in the right position. So I understand why they like him. And he plays through injuries. Like, that's one thing about him is that he sucks and you can't get rid of him. He's like a roach. He doesn't get hurt. He sucks and he's durable. It's the worst combination of all time.
I was saying I don't want to wish injury because I wish he would just get a minor injury to get him off the freaking field so we can see somebody better. Because I know, what's that? Nugent. I know he's better at center.
All right, yeah, hold on. Yeah, I'm still here. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I know that Nugent's better at center, but the problem is he is a brindle, but younger, probably more stout, not getting pushed over. He's just soft, man. I don't understand. He's not good at run blocking. He's better at pass blocking. I guess I'm by myself here. Yeah, but the reason why we suck this year is because our depth is garbage because we decided to draft this moron name. We didn't draft. We traded for Hargrave, who had one really good season. He was a good run stuffer in Pittsburgh, but when you get to Philadelphia, everybody in Philly was telling us this dude's not a good run stopper at all. So why we have him? And we got rid of all that depth. It was terrible.
You officially own my channel.
I just didn't want to see it. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting over the flu. I'm trying to get so.
No. I mean, all right. So really, the biggest thing right now for us is we were poorly coached on defense. There was there was a lack of adjustments made. There was a lack of adjustments made throughout the games, especially with bunch trips. Definitely done. Disguising our coverages, not being able to mix anything up with rushing. One thing that really killed me is that whatever happened to the disability, I couldn't resist. But like, whatever happened to? Do you remember when the key reason why Brandon Staley was supposed to come here was that he was going to start implementing the what was that? The simulated pressures. Remember that?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he was going to be the one that was going to start bringing in to help us out with not only understanding the simulated pressures, but doing those simulated pressures ourselves, dropping guys off of the defensive line. What happened to all of that throughout the season?
All I see is vanilla ass. Let's rush for, and they don't get it. And the guys don't get any pressure at all. Maybe pressures, but no sacks. They're sitting there all day, able to throw the ball. We can't stop the run, whatever.
Man, so look, hey, what do you got for me closing us out, man?
I don't know what Staley was doing there, but he must have been at the strip club because he wasn't helping Sorensen out at all. Because it is the worst DC I've ever seen in my life.
There's no way. I don't even think that I don't think Kyle should even consider him. I really don't want him. I don't want him in the building anymore.
If Staley's DC, dude, we're done. We're going to have the defense is not going to improve. I mean, I don't think his defense was that good with the Rams, their run defense. I could be wrong. Well, in 2020, right, he was the DC for the Rams.
Right.
I don't think they were that great at stopping the run.
They were okay. But hey, man, great call. Give me a call in again. Hey, I'm going to be here for the playoffs doing live watch show party, so we'll be able to get it going that way. But hey, what do you got? What is your biggest change that you want to see this offseason?
Well, I don't want them to take forever with the Purdy situation. Okay. I mean, yeah, I know everybody wants him to get $40 million, but I think 50 is probably is the number. I don't think we're not going to do 60. That's ridiculous. But I could be wrong. Who the hell am I? I don't want them to go crazy with the free agency because we don't have a lot of money as it is. And they need to nail this freaking draft. If not, I mean, yeah, like I'm worried about the first 3 rounds. We're going to get another kicker in the fucking 3rd round. Trenches. That's all I want to see. And maybe, like you said, free safety. And you said we haven't had a free safety in a while. Wasn't Jimmy Ward like our last free safety?
Yeah, he was like our last true do-it-all safety. Dude, our last one.
We need Jimmy Ward 2.0. Man, I miss that guy.
I mean, he did everything for us.
Yeah, he's getting injured now, but he was great on the Niners. I miss him.
Definitely. All right,
Okay,
Chef.
well that's it, man. Good
Great
talking to
call,
you as
man.
always, Coach.
Thanks,
All right.
man. Jonas.
What's up, Coach? What's up?
Oh, come on, man. You got to give me better audio, Jonas. What's up?
Okay, can you hear me better now?
A little bit better. Could you turn yourself up?
You know what? Let me put on the um, my headset instead of just talking into the mic. You could just do a chat or something.
Yo, all right, Tommy. Yo, hold on, Jonas. I'm gonna take you down. I'm gonna bring Eric up. I'm gonna get you. We'll get you on the next caller.
Cool.
All right. E,
Hey, what's up, Coach?
what's good, brother? Talk to me.
Not too much, man. How are you?
I'm great. So, talk to me about the season. What is your biggest disappointment this season?
Yeah, something I don't really hear a lot of other people talking about. I think that they have a real problem with their culture. I think they have a real problem with this front runner mentality where when they're playing bad teams, they come out with the boom box, they're dancing, everybody's having a good time. But it's like a bully, man. How do you stop a bully? You punch them in the nose one time, and then they don't know how to react. And I
They don't
think the
respond.
49ers got that problem, man. They're great at piling on teams when they got the lead. When they're playing a bad team, they can bury them. Yeah, sure. But like, what's Kyle's record when he's trailing in the fourth quarter? It's like something abysmal. He's like 3-42 or something like that. It's
Yeah.
bad, dude. Like they don't. I don't think that they have. I don't think that they have like the right kind of championship mentality. And I think it starts with Kyle. You look at, you know, other coaches like Bill Belichick, very attention to detail. The little things. Don't turn the ball over. Don't commit penalties. Don't beat yourself. We look at this team. It's penalties galore. There's turnovers. I don't think that they got the right mindset. And when things start to go wrong, they don't have that kind of mentality. I look at a team like the Detroit Lions. They've had just as many injuries as the 49ers this year, but they rallied together. They played for
More.
the team. They have that mindset where when they're down, they could still come out. And yeah, part of that is because the way the offense is designed. They're designed to throw the ball. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Jared Goff. They're designed to come back when they're down. But I think part of it is roster construction. You don't really have those deep threats to be able to stretch the field, score quickly. You score on those 10, 12, 15 play drives, those grind them out drives. That's great when you have the lead. But when you're down, which is going to happen in the playoffs, you're not going to win 3 or 4 straight playoff games by blowing teams out. At some point, somebody's going to get a lead on you, and you got to come back. Or you got to put a team away when you have the lead. I mean, they had both Super Bowls. They had 10-point leads in the fourth quarter, and they couldn't put those teams away. I think part of that is from the culture that Kyle has established, where he acts like he's won like 10 rings already. He acts like he's Bill Belichick. He acts like, hey, you guys got to listen to me. I know everything. Like I don't think that he puts much effort into learning and improving. And I think that we see that repeated in some of these mistakes where we keep, drafting. They drafted Mitch Michnowski in the 4th round, then you draft Jake Moody in the 3rd round. We see things like that, and this year. What's it going to be in the 1st round? The last couple of years, a lot of us have been saying, hey, man, you need an offensive tackle. You need somebody that can play right tackle now and take over for Trent Williams, the left tackle.
Come back over.
So what have they been doing? Oh, it's wide receiver, running back, offensive line. It's or not offensive line, defensive line. And I do think that they need help on the defensive line this year. But, like, for Christ's sake, man, like, what are we going to do? Trent Williams held out last year when he had, like, 4 years left on his contract because you haven't drafted any replacement. He had all the leverage. I think you got to start beefing up the offensive line. And the other thing, I know a lot of people aren't going to want to hear this, but if it was me, I wouldn't pay Purdy. I wouldn't pay him anything. I'm sorry. I don't think he's good enough. I think he's barely above average. I think he looks good on a great team. And I think Jimmy Garoppolo, the year they went to the Super Bowl, Jimmy Garoppolo was top 5 in touchdown passes. I think this offense can make a lot of quarterbacks look good. I wouldn't pay Purdy. What I would do, honestly, and I know this ain't going to happen. I know they're just going to pay him because he's such a nice guy. He deserves whatever he wants. Let's just hand him the starting job. No quarterback competition. We'll get rid of Trey Lance. We want Brock Purdy to be comfortable. We're going to give him, hey, how about $100 million a year? Why don't you just take up 90% of the salary cap because you're a nice guy? Like, dude, what about how he plays on the field? So if it was me, I know this ain't going to happen. If it was me, I would trade Purdy. Now, I think a lot of the I wouldn't. I think it's disrespectful to ask Brock Purdy to start another year for $1 million. So somebody's going to have to pay him, but I wouldn't do it. So I would trade Purdy. A lot of teams need quarterbacks. You're not going to get the 2nd overall pick from the Browns. You're not going to get the Raiders pick. You're not going to get the Giants pick. Those teams, I'm sorry, they don't value Brock Purdy that high. You guys might think that Brock Purdy is an elite quarterback, but if you want to know what he's worth, put him on the trade market and see what he's worth. But I do think that you could get one of those early second-round picks from those teams. I think a team like the Giants or a team like the Raiders, you might be able to finesse the second-round pick out of them, and then you could go offensive tackle at 11, and then in the second round, you got 2 second-round picks. You could address maybe defensive line, and then somewhere around 2 to 3, you take a quarterback. Now, this is a bad quarterback draft class, and picking the second round, you're not going to exactly have your pick of the litter. So maybe you double up. Maybe you take a quarterback in round 3, and then you take a developmental prospect in round 5 or 6. And then in the offseason, you bring in maybe Kirk Cousins on a cheap deal because he's still getting paid from the Falcons. Maybe a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who knows? But that's what I would do. I would bring in as many cheap quarterbacks as possible, throw them all in a quarterback competition, and be like, hey, which one of you guys can hit George Kittle when he's open? Which one of you guys can hit Brandon Ayuk when he's open? Like, you don't need to be the best quarterback in the league. You just need to be cheap because we got these other players around you that are paid a lot. And, you know, basically my attitude is if Brock Purdy can be successful with this team, other quarterbacks can be successful. He's not the first quarterback to throw the ball. He's not going to be the last. I think you can replicate this kind of success, but I don't think you can do it with that contract. And I know you mentioned earlier that it's not about the contract size, it's about the cap hit. But those cap hits come due eventually. And I don't want to be paying Brock Purdy's contract in 2030. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a long-term plan for success. So if it was me, I'd shop Brock Purdy, take a high second-round pick for him, and I would reset the quarterback schedule with either, you know, and then if you bring in a guy like Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers who does good, maybe you bring him back for another year. Or maybe you bring in one of those guys when you're a bridge quarterback and those developmental quarterbacks you drafted this year start getting better. Or maybe they don't, and you try again next year. But I think I would rather keep trying to find a quarterback than do what the Dolphins have done and what the Jaguars have done and what the Cowboys have done. You got a quarterback that you know is not a top 5 quarterback. You know that if you're the Cowboys, you know that Dak Prescott ain't a top 5 quarterback. Why are you giving him top 5 money? You know that Trevor Lawrence ain't a top 5 quarterback. Why are you giving him top 5 money? We know that Brock Purdy, I'm sorry, guys, he's just not a top 5 quarterback. Why is he getting top 5 money? Now, maybe if he would take a deal, if he would take like a Baker Mayfield deal, like $30 million a year, I might consider that. But again, if it's me, why am I paying Brock Purdy $30 million a year to be an average quarterback when I could take somebody in the second or third round, or maybe try to, you know, sign a free agent who can be a league average quarterback? I don't think it's that hard to find a league average quarterback. I don't. I think it's difficult to find a true top 5 quarterback, which is why if I had a guy like Justin Herbert or Lamar Jackson, yes, I would pay them because it's hard to find a top 5 quarterback. I don't think it's that hard. They found Brock Purdy in the 7th round. How can they not find another league average quarterback somewhere else in the draft?
All right, my guys. So first of all, man, you gotta love beautiful job, Eric. So first things first, dude. You're tripping. No way that we are traded, that Brock Purdy is getting traded at all. That's number one.
I know they're
Second off,
not going to.
it's not happening. Second off, bro, you gotta understand, ain't nobody gonna give up no picks for Brock Purdy.
Well,
Eric, that ain't happening, man.
But I thought Brock Purdy's an elite quarterback, right? See,
wait a minute.
Problem with Brock Purdy.
Hey, we do. Hey, one thing that you don't know, Eric. One thing you don't understand, Eric, is we do drug tests on this channel. In order for you to come on the Coaches Huddle and be on the call-in show, we do a little bit of screening. So there's a lot of stuff that flies all over the YouTube algorithm about Brock Purdy and how things. We don't indulge in psychedelics or hard drugs on this platform. This is a children's platform.
I live in New Jersey. It's legal here. So
yeah, all right. But we not. I live in DC. But we not about to go out here, you know, saying that Brock Purdy's elite. That does not rest on this platform at all.
Okay, so you don't think Brock Purdy's elite? So why are they going to give him like 60? Why are they going to? Patrick Mahomes making $45 million a year. Why are they going to pay him more than Mahomes?
Because number one, it's the market. So you got to understand that it's not 60 in the sense of 60 is the best that there is. It's 60 in the sense that the market has pushed itself to that number. So understand that. That's one. All right.
Yeah.
Two, he's a figurehead. All right, he's a face of an organization. The front office, they really love this guy. They love him. He's a good kid off the field. I know that doesn't matter, but in the grand scheme of things, that crap plays.
He's a good leader. He's got great intangibles. He's
all
got
of
good
that
work ethic.
And then he's
the kind of guy that you want to play with. But
all right, and then also,
I don't know.
They've shown that they can make money with him. That's what they're going to sign him. The kid was able to play with the team and get to the Super Bowl. All right, and now
on a $1 million contract.
Yeah, I understand that, but I feel like that they're gonna. This is gonna be putting lipstick on a pig. I really do believe that. I think that he's gonna get a really big deal.
They're definitely paying Purdy. He's definitely
going to pay him.
That's why I said in the beginning, I know what they're going to pay him, but this is just what I would do. I wouldn't pay him. I'm sorry. I don't think, because we're talking about the market and the value, right? Well, market is based on supply and demand. I think that people are confusing the supply of top 5 quarterbacks with the supply of league average quarterbacks. The supply of top 5 quarterbacks is low. There's only like 5 or 6 of them. But that's why, so you're paying top 5 market value for quarterbacks that are not top 5. I think that's where the lack of value in those contracts come in. I think that's why teams like the Dolphins, the Jaguars, the Cowboys, they're struggling. Find it hard to consistently win and to win it all and to beat a team like the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs are the dynasty right now. How are you going to beat them if you're overpaying your quarterback? I just think it's gonna put them at a disadvantage. I like Brock Purdy. I'm not rooting against the guy. I don't have an issue. I just think that he's a little athletically limited, and that means that his only path to success is to double down on reading defenses and accuracy. And if he's not doing those at an elite level, then he's just an average quarterback. And I think it's gonna be a disadvantage to pay him, but I do agree that they're definitely gonna do it. He is a good leader. He's got good work ethic. It's a good story to root for. But in the fourth quarter, when Brock Purdy has the ball in his hands, if you're down by 10, are you really confident that he's going to sling it? He's going to bomb the ball down the field. He's going to get you back in that game. I haven't really seen it that much. There was the one game against the Lions in the playoffs, but people forget he also had a passer rating of 39 in the first half of that game. He was part of the reason they were getting blown out by the Dolphins. So
I mean, we definitely. This is one thing that we also know is that look, the Brock Purdy conversation has been well documented. All right. And we also understand the old, analogy of the arsonist putting out his own fire. Jimmy did that on routine, okay, where he would get credit.
That was
yes, he would get credit for putting out the fires that he created himself.
Yeah.
But what I will say is that the quarterback situation it's integral to us winning. My thing is that look, man, don't kill the team just for paying the guy. Ultimately, if I don't care what the number is, if it bears out to the point where Brock gets paid, but we can still go out here and get business done, then I'm all for it. Really, I think the biggest thing right now that people don't really want to talk about is that there's a lot of players that are on the hot seat for the money that they're getting paid. How much do we pay a Nick Bosa if he doesn't produce next year? Do we start looking at that? We start looking at that in a whole different ilk. But that's a question that I want you to answer later. I got to get Jonas up here, then Brendan, then Shields, then Bay Area Kev, then Gammon, and then my man Chardot.
I went a little long. Sorry about that, man. Sorry.
No, brother. You fine. Listen, it's my chance. If you were going too long, I'd have kicked you off. So now I'm just playing with you. Nah, man. I enjoyed the call, man. Thank you so much for calling in, Eric. Call in again, man.
Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
No problem. Talk to you again, man. Eric came in hot, guys. He was killing. Let's get one more super chat in here before we get Jonas up. Gammon Brown, $2. Biggest need in order, in your opinion? Offensive tackle, guard, or center? For me, I would go center, tackle, guard, in my opinion. Jonas, let's go, brother. How you doing, Jonas?
What's up?
What's up, man? Hey, how you doing?
Wait, I'm gonna fix it.
Jonas?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just start talking. Say what you got to say, Jonas. You coming in here with the librarian swag, man.
Wait, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
No.
Just start yelling.
I'll just enter and
Oh my God. Hey, look, Who was next? Was it Brendan or Shields? Who was next? Brendan, you're coming up. Shields, you're next. Brendan, what's going on, man?
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly fine. That was an awesome call from Jonas. Riveting. What do you got for me, Brendan?
Hey, so I'm gonna be quick. Remember when we lost to the Chiefs in 2020? Remember Tyrann Mathieu? He chewed his defense out. And remember just this past year when we lost to the Chiefs, Chris Jones during the game, he chewed his team out. And earlier this year, I saw Chauncey Gardner-Johnson chew his defense out. And I feel like we need a dude that will chew out either, it doesn't matter what unit he's on. We need a dude that will chew out the team. If he's on defense, he'll chew out the defense. If he's on the O, he'll chew out the O. I feel like we're missing that dude. We got dudes that are captains, etc. But man, we need that dude that'll just chew out the unit. And that's all I really got. I just feel like we need one dude, and I don't know if you can find him, or I don't know if a star is born, if they just got to be that person, but we really need a dude that'll chew out a unit.
Yeah, I mean, look, what you're talking about is culture. All right, so you were talking about some instances. I'll bring up some instances. Devondre Campbell. So, and I'm not gonna talk tough. I'm gonna just talk plainly. Football is a meritocracy, okay? Meaning that the top dog runs the show. It is what it is. And I've been on teams, I've coached on teams where there was a very clear delineation of who those top guys were. And they didn't get to those positions on the team because they were nice guys, or they hung out with you, or they told you how much they liked you. They were in that position because they were the best players on the team. The coaches realized they was the best players on the team, and they got tasked with the responsibility of being the leaders. And if you got out of line, you got checked. Flat out, you got checked. And it wasn't performative. It wasn't a lot of it wasn't even in front of everybody. But you got checked if you did something crazy. And one thing that really struck me is that if you want to talk about like one of the alpha predators guys on the team, you would say that Nick Bosa is one of those guys, would you not? On our team, isn't he supposed to be one of our tip of the spear John Wayne type guy team? He's the guy that walks around with a dip in and with his MAGA hat on. I mean, you should be able to whoop a little ass. You're the number one pass rusher on our team. And what really threw me off is that Nick said that he heard Devondre Campbell chirping in the locker room about how he felt about the team and what he was going to do if he got called to get on the field. And he said that he just ignored it and hoped that it wouldn't happen. Bro, that right there lets me know that, like, y'all don't really want to crack. Y'all not really leaders. You guys aren't really, like, whooping ass. I'm sorry. You ain't really, because I've been on teams where if there was a guy talking subversive like that in the open, in the locker room, bruh, we are wrecking on sight. I'm jumping in your chest with both feet, man. There's no way in the world that you're going to embarrass us like this. No way. And for context, if he would have pulled what he did on the field, bro, after the game, it is on. It's on. I'm on site. It's over for you, cuz. I'm turning you into dirty laundry. So for me, that's my biggest issue with the leadership and the culture of this team is, where's the line of your leadership? You know what I'm saying? Where's the line of your leadership with step into players and where the culture was. Like, how much did you say enough is enough, Fred Warner? What, on the fifth loss, the seventh loss? All of this boombox holding, Deebo Samuel. At what point did you stand up in front of the entire team and stand on business and say, hey, bruh, no, we not losing no more. That's it. Whatever we got to do, step your game up. Not the kicker, bruh. Not the long snapper. That right there lets me know that these guys got C's on their chest because they're good players and Kyle likes them. Guys follow because it's a dance routine. It's like, well, Fred's talking. I guess we all get around him. Debo's dancing. I guess we dance behind him. But at what point does the leadership actually carry over? Like, where was the leadership? Where was the respect when we were losing? Where's the respect when I'm going through things and my man just bounces in the middle of the call? Jonas, this is your last shot, bro. Call this 8 Mile.
Here,
call
man.
this the 8 Mile
I'm
call.
here.
What's
Come
up,
on,
man?
You can't hear me now?
You only get one chance to blow. Your opportunity
You hear me well
lasts
this
once
time,
in a
right?
lifetime. This is mom's spaghetti right now.
No.
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All right, what's up, brother?
Man, I wish I was on with that Eric Dane because I disagreed with all the things he said except the Purdy part. But
Right.
all the things he was saying in the beginning, man, let me go through them one by one. I'm going to do it very quickly because I know there are other people waiting. First of all, he said, this is check Carr's record in the fourth quarter when trading. Bro, everybody's record in the fourth quarter when trading is horrific. Go check. I remember those stats. They pulled them up a year ago or something. Everybody's record in the fourth quarter when trailing is horrific. That's how the games usually work. If you're trading late, you're going to lose. That's how it works. So I don't really want to talk about that. This team is built to get a lead and then run the ball late. That's how it works. We know how this team is built, and it's not going to change. So I don't want to really go through that. Now, the other part that he was talking about, he said, oh, this team is just bullying bad teams. Bro, if we bullied bad teams this year, we would be 11 or 12 wins. Is that not true?
Right.
If we bullied the bad teams that we gave leads to, the Seahawks, the Cardinals twice, the Rams twice, would we not have 11 wins? That's 5 wins alone. So this year, to me, I saw a change. This team was not bullying or finishing off the bad teams anymore. And I think a big part of that is because the team overall, coach, like you said, the quality of the team was not as good. That's how we work. Like, otherwise, do you really think we're giving up a 10-point lead to the Cardinals or the Rams, who didn't have Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua? That game is probably a 30-point win. So all of these things, to me, just lead to this offseason. The number one thing I want, I'm going to adjust the Brock Purdy thing last, but I'm going to go through what I want this offseason to happen is free agency. I want them to address the needs in free agency, coach, because to me, I really don't want us to be at 11 and then pick a Javon Kinlaw 2.0 just because we need a need. It's a need. We pick a Calvin Banks Jr. just because we need a tackle. I don't want that. Like, I want them to pick the best player at 11. 11
Right.
to me has, if that's Malachi Starks, if that's Will Johnson, if that's Jalen Walker, I don't care who it is. You got to pick the best player at 11 because if you draft for need, you're going to be stuck in the same position. You pick Mike McGlinchey for need. Well, he was an average player. You pick Javon Kinlaw for need. He was below average. I don't want that to happen. So I'm not a fan of that. So I want them to address, first of all, a center. If they don't bring a new center coach for 2025, how do we even go into the season being hopeful if Jake Brendel is back at center? Like,
True.
Like, so that to me has to be the number one. And then defensive tackle. Those two things, I think there are things you could improve in free agency. They're going to be veterans who are available, who are not going to break the bank, and that I think they can instantly improve your defensive line and your interior offensive line. Now, let me get to Brock Purdy.
Let's go.
You remember, coach, before the season when I talked about Brock Purdy and your whole chat was on me, attacking me because I said Brock Purdy is under pressure this year? Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
The whole chat was on me just because I spoke the truth. Like, this is what I don't like about NFL fandom, coach. It's year to year. Last year, Brock Purdy is untouchable. This year, Brock Purdy, everybody, a lot of people like Eric Day, that guy. He's like,
they're
don't pay him.
all stepping back, Jonas. They're all stepping back. There was last year there were full-fledged conversations about Brock Purdy being a top 5 player. That Brock Purdy was better than Lamar Jackson, faster 10-yard split, more athletic. There were conversations about Brock Purdy being better than Justin Herbert. What has Justin Herbert ever done in the league compared to what Brock Purdy was doing? There were conversations about Brock Purdy being just as good as Patrick Mahomes. Like, and this is from a lot. This isn't Twitter. This is from content creators with tens of thousands of followers. Okay, they're all, or there's some. You know what? I got to keep it tall. Yeah. I respect David Lombardi, dog. Yeah. You got to be a special dude to stay 10 toes down in the face. Like, yo, if I had a friend like David, bro, that defended me the way David defends Brock's son, is that not like one of the most goated friends of all time?
Coach,
he does it with a straight face, too.
Exactly. Coach, I actually respect David Lombardi. What I don't respect is the fickle fans, who, not just the fickle fans, even fickle reporters and content creators who have been flip-flopping position. I don't need to name them. It's like I said, my issues with Brock Purdy, I told you in that conversation with you, Coach. I said, Brock Purdy will be only as good as the surroundings around him. If you look at this past season, Coach, the first 3 quarters, what if I told you Brock Purdy was a top 3 quarterback in the first 3 quarters this past season?
Is that true?
Yes, I have the numbers. I can send them to you on Twitter later.
Send me that.
I will. Do you know where he was ranked in the fourth quarter? 33 out of 35 quarterbacks.
He ain't even fall within the 32.
Exactly, because there was some backups that played a minimum 50 snaps. So he played really well until he didn't. But to me, the team around him wasn't as good. So to me, Parag, and I've criticized Parag for his negotiations, he better bring his best negotiations to this one. And like you said, Coach, it's not about the AAV. AAV is fake, man. I don't care about AAV.
It is.
It's about the contract structure. If you remember Jimmy Garoppolo's contract, they had an out after 2 years. If this has an out after 2 years, it's a great deal for the Niners. Because
I don't care what we pay him if we get an out after 2.
Yes. That's what I'm hoping for, because Trevor Lawrence, Coach, there was an out after 2 years in his contract too, and he's a first-round pick. So if he had that, then I think the same thing with Purdy. And the last thing, I know you have others. I'm just gonna
you're good, brother.
A passing comment.
Okay.
About the whole thing, Coach. I'd rather be 6-11. I know this is controversial. I'd rather be 6-11 than 10-7 and get smashed in round 1 of the playoffs. I'm sorry. If you're not winning the playoffs, I don't care. I don't care about losing. There's teams that are going to lose today and tomorrow. Are they better than us because they made the playoffs? No, they. I'd rather.
Hold on.
Yeah.
All right, now before you go, because I disagree with you.
Okay.
And the reason why I disagree with you is the reason why we're 6-11 is I feel as though in a lot of instances we took our ball and we went home. We didn't play hard every fucking week. We didn't put our best foot forward every week. Kyle didn't get the best he could out of this offense. He didn't play the running back room the way they should have been. He didn't get Ricky Pearsall over Deebo Samuel until literally 3 games left in the season. Come on, man. The defense was poorly coached. So so one thing that we got to stop with this. The season doesn't matter because we didn't try. That is the most horse crap analogy that only Niners fans can get away with that. Where it's this was a down year. This year doesn't count. We'll be back next year. No, it counts.
No, it does count.
And why we are as bad as we are matters too. We did not just have injuries. That's cap. That's not the reason why we had the season we did. We had the season we did because we got a coaching staff that doesn't know how to use the entire team. Okay? And we got exposed for them only coaching up starters. And the development of certain players fell off. And then we also got exposed for our lack of productivity and our seriousness in the offensive line in the trenches at large. So there are a lot of problems that happen this year that can happen again right next year.
No, of course.
None of
My
that shit's
point is,
gone.
Coach. No, Coach. My point is, once we were 6-8, once we were 6-8. I'm not saying like when we were 4-3, 4-4. Once we were 6-8, 9-8 is not giving you anything. It's not taking you anywhere. Like for me as a fan, 9-8 and 6-11. I'd rather have 6-11 because then I have a chance to take a difference making player in the draft. I'm not gonna get that chance with nine
Man,
and
we
eight.
just got Ricky Pearsall in the first round. Talk
Yeah,
about
but he was
the
31.
difference-making player.
Yeah, but you're not getting a difference
Javon
maker at
Kinlaw was
31.
a bust. Mike McGlinchey was a bust. Solomon Thomas was a bust. Talk about like we know what we doing in the first round. You ever heard of Trey Lance?
Trey
So
Lance
we
is the
just
reason why we're in this
know what we
situation.
doing in the first round.
No. I said we have a chance, Coach. So you remember, I said we have a chance. I'd rather have that chance. By the way, Ricky Pearsall, to me, I don't really mind that pick at 31. He's going to be replacing Deebo Samuel this year. I don't really have a big issue. I would have taken DeJean, but I don't think that, Coach, there's way too early to have any say about how that pick. The guy fucking got shot a week before. Sorry. Oh.
All right, well, when you put it like that, I get it, Jonas. When you put it like that, he definitely did get shot. I got no comeback for that.
Yeah. No, but I will call during the offseason, Coach, when the draft nears to tell you my takes about the prospects that I'm really into and all of that. I wish you all the best.
Just give me a position and I'm going to try to find them.
Okay.
Just tell me the position that you can go because we got to get Shields up. Shields is next.
Corner or safety.
I like that. Hey.
Yeah.
We're going to have the draft day parties coming up too. We'll talk about it, man.
Yes.
Great calling in, Jonas. Give me a call next time, bro.
I will. Goodbye.
Talk to you, man. It has been a while.
Man, I got stuff to do, bro. Sorry.
Where have you been, man?
I've been going to Cal Academy, Exploratorium, went up to Davis to get my son for break and all that. So,
come on, bro. Miss your calls, bro.
All right. So everyone's like talking around the edges. And, people said like culture. I think that's probably the closest thing. That the real problem is that the organization doesn't believe in, or it doesn't seem to believe in football fundamentals. And I go back to preseason. I've been putting this in your comments or like in the live and all that since then. If you remember during the preseason games, dudes were walking before the whistle was blown, in between plays. It happened all season long. Mm-hmm. Jordan Mason fumbled. You had Juice, Trent, and George Kittle were all walking around while you see Jordan Mason struggling to try to get another, foot or so. The ball gets stripped. He fumbles, right? It's just sort of a lack of urgency from the team on things like that. Mm-hmm. You see it in terms of how the plays get called in the fourth quarter when we should be running the ball and we don't run the ball. There's no commitment to it. So, I mean, you'll see Kyle come out and say, well, the run wasn't working. How do you know the run wasn't working if you run 10, 12, 15 times? That's not how the run game works. You run that 12, 15, 20 times because on the 21st play, that's when the defense is worn down and whoever it is going to break off some big runs. That's how run games work. You're going to get tackled for losses in the run game. You're going to pick up 1 yard, 2 yards, but you have to stick with the run game the entire first quarter through fourth quarter. This is basic football fundamentals. That's how that works. That's how you open up the run game, by sticking with it and having your passes.
It's a commitment.
It's a commitment. It's a football fundamental. Like, you have to commit to the run. I don't care if you have a running back or not. You have to commit to the run. Otherwise, you're one-dimensional passing who's not going to do anything. And this is what you see happening to the 49ers all year long in the fourth quarter. Of course, Brock Purdy or whoever is going to be terrible, setting aside all the flaws of Brock Purdy as a passer. If you don't run the ball in the fourth quarter, you're very unlikely to actually have any real success passing. Sure, there might be some quarterback out there who could do it, but as a fundamental strategy of football, that's a bad strategy, right?
Yes, agreed.
So what I see is that you have an organization that's not committed to football fundamentals. You have an organization that is more committed to relationships than to success. And this doesn't start with we think of the Cabo clique, we talk about Kyle Shanahan, but it's really the Yorks. Because why did they fire Harbaugh? Because they didn't
He
like
was on the in crowd. Yeah. They didn't like him. Yeah.
He is doing the right things football wise, but we don't like you, so we're going to fire you. And so that's just an entire message through the organization that whether we like you or not is more important than whether or not you actually produce on the football field.
But is it that? Can I just interject for a second? Because I love where you're going with this, Shills. But isn't that a slap in the face to us as fans, as supporters? Like, we're the life's blood of the organization, and for them to be so, I don't know, just flippant maybe about the fact of, oh, the fans will buy the tickets. It's all about how much I like this guy. Like, we don't have to put up with anything that's, that deals with the success or the failure of the organization, as long as basically our day-to-day is okay. Because one thing that I will say is that I think the biggest feather that Kyle has in his cap with the Yorks is that they get along with him. They like him. I think they identify with him, especially Jed. And I believe that it's kind of starting to show itself in a sense where, I don't know, like, man, even if we moved on from Kyle, do we trust the Yorks to pick the right guy?
Okay, so here's the thing. The reason why I don't think there's any likelihood that they'll be moving on from Kyle in the near future is I think Kyle has a very solid formula. Grant pointed out at last season where he was talking about someone asked him, what did he learn from his father? And he said, how to keep my job. So one of the things you see with Kyle is that he gets these seasons where he hits like last in the league, in the division, third in the division, and so he gets a cake schedule, and he has a scheme on offense and defense that can beat up on a subpar team. So then you get a really good season, like, a 12 and whatever season, 11, 13 wins, and then you get a hard schedule the next year and they lose. So you sort of see this fluctuation in how the 49ers have performed and why there has been no consistent performance of the 49ers. If Kyle Shanahan had a legitimate coaching methodology, not just a scheme, then there would be a consistent winning seasons after the first couple of seasons where you had like 4 wins and 6 wins or whatever it was.
17, yeah.
What you see is this up and down, up and down, up and down. And it's not, there haven't been like crazy personnel changes. Maybe you might have some injuries, but that's football. People come and go. Like the average football career is like, what, 2.5 years? You're not expecting
2 to 3
around for the duration. So you should be expecting that people are going to be going out the door, and you should have the next guy up who can come in and serviceably get you wins, right? That's how football works. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So if you had an actual coaching methodology, the 49ers should be consistently winning, consistently having winning seasons, but you don't see that consistency. So the marketing ploy here is like they can point to the NFC Championship games, going to the playoffs, going to the Super Bowl and all that, but it's not done in a consistent manner. And so they can market that out to the fan base, and people buy into all that because there's the wins on bad seasons. When we have like a weak strength of the schedule. And so that's the genius.
This is going to be, this year is lined up perfectly for a bounce back season for everybody for them to come back and win 10 to 12 games, and for everyone to say that.
Organization.
Say that again?
if the 49ers were a real organization, we had everybody lined up. Even with Christian McCaffrey being injured, who do we have behind him? Jordan Mason. And what did Jordan Mason? He was like one of the top 5 rushers.
He was the leading rusher in the league, bro.
So, and then what does Kyle do? Goes away from him, does not utilize him, doesn't commit to basic football fundamentals. So, for what I want to see, fingers crossed, I don't really see the. I told you, when we coming up to the Chiefs game, I gave you a prediction. And I predicted the Niners would win. I forget what the score was. If Kyle changes, I'm not sure he's going to change. We'll see what happens in the offseason. We'll see how it all plays out. But this is the fundamental problem that we have right now is there is a commitment to relationships over football, starting from the ownership down through the players. This is why Nick Bosa and people don't go around checking people, because it's not performance based. Like, I'm gonna check you.
Like, did you understand what I was saying about that though?
Yes, I play football too, bro.
Yes, like, bruh, did you not know? Like, I remember playing as a freshman, like a freshman in high school, and I remember I played varsity when I was a freshman, right? And I remember I used to love to make jokes in the huddle, right? Just, playing around with my guys, right? And there was a running back at the time who was a senior, all right? And he used to always tell me, like, hey, shut up in the huddle. Shut up. Like, you talking too much. So, I'm not taking him seriously. And, bruh, we were in our first scrimmage. This was a scrimmage. The season hadn't even started yet. We were in the scrimmage, bruh. And I was going back and forth with somebody in the huddle, and he ended up not hearing the snap count. And we went out, and he ran off sides. And, dog, when I tell you, that was the first play of the scrimmage. The whole scrimmage was over. Man, we got on the bus and got all the way back to school, dog. But we went in the locker room, man. When you want to talk about hands, feet, went off on me, dog. Like, put hands on me. Broke me down like a shotgun in front of everybody. And I was a lineman at the time. My pride was hurt. You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, you don't even block. You don't even use the sled. Putting your hands on me like that. But he was 18, 19 years old. I was 14. I was young. You know what I'm saying? And he put hands on me. You know? So, hey, I love to see it, man. I'm gonna get back up, but go ahead, man.
I mean, that's how it goes. That's how it's supposed to go. It's not we can be friends and joke and all that stuff at the appropriate time. Like, I think there was one where some video from one of these practices where Ricky Pearsall is kind of clowning around, but he's in line getting ready to do a drill. And, it's like they're receivers. They're going to do stuff like that, But I never, clowning wasn't, the part of the program. And, that smoking and joking stuff wasn't going to fly. You have a limited amount of time. And it's even worse now with the way the NFL CPA is. But, even back then when I was playing ball, it was like smoking and joking wasn't a thing. You would get lit up. Coaches wasn't going to have that. It was like, okay, we're going to smoke and joke. Okay, it seems like y'all have other things that you would like to do. Other things that I would like to do. You know what? I think it's time for a little extra, PT or whatever it is that we're going to be doing. A little physical correction. It would come from the coaches down. And it would just be immediate in practice. That joking stuff wasn't going to happen. And
yeah. Like Devondre Campbell surviving on this roster pretty much
I mean,
he pretty much exposed the leadership on this team, to be honest with you. Because a guy like that, do you think a Devondre Campbell could exist in the Ravens locker room?
No.
You know what I mean? Can a Devondre Campbell exist in Philly's locker room, in Pittsburgh's locker room, in Detroit's locker room? You know what I mean? These are veteran in the Chiefs locker room, in the Bengals locker room, in the Bills locker room. You think that these guys could exist in these locker rooms where grown men are going to put hands on you? Where it's like, hey, bro, not for nothing. Forget the wins and losses. We play a certain way, flat out.
Yeah.
Period. And I think that is an element that I want to see back on this team. I remember the stories about Brandon Ayuk, son in Diamador Lenore, when Diamador Lenore was a young rookie and Brandon Ayuk put him under the wing. All right? That's where that little dog come from, right? So you got to understand, like, the reason why Debo is what he is because Wes Welker and Emmanuel Sanders and Richard Sherman put Debo under the wing. Put him under the wing. This is how you're a pro, bro. This is how you handle your business. Wes Welker, hey, you running before practice, Debo. When Wes Welker was with Debo, we didn't have no out of shape issues and conditioning issues out of Debo at all. So it's time for us to start getting that. That has nothing to do with the draft. That stuff don't come up in the stat line.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
About the attributes of particular players, whoever it might be, that are all our particular issues that we might have with Kyle Shanahan and sort of how he goes about doing whatever. But there's certain like basic football shit that has to get done that you're just not going to get anywhere if you don't do that. Like your talent only carries you so far. So everyone's saying we didn't have the talent. How are you going to tell me we didn't have the talent when Jordan Mason is like the number one rusher? How are you going to tell me that? How are you going to tell me we didn't have the talent when we all saw what Ricky Pearsall did in this last game? He wasn't no joke.
Yeah.
We saw what Jawan did in that first Rams game. We even saw the one play when Jacob Cowan had that, stutter move. That was like the sickest route that we got to see all year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so you can't tell me we didn't have people there. And people want to point to the defense. You said it many times. The defense here goes out, they get a stop. On fourth down. And not just this didn't just happen one time this year. Multiple times this year, the defense goes out and gets a stop. Offense comes in and goes 3 and out.
3 and out.
I played on defense, and so for me, I never pointed at the offense. I always looked at it like, hey, I'm coming here. We're going to get the ball. We're going to score, and we're going to win the game no matter what. But the reality is that you have these dudes who are fighting. People to understand defense is like you are reactionary, so you automatically have to try to break into that, the loop of the offense, and that takes a lot of energy and effort. And so when you have somebody like Will Campbell saying, "If I make one mistake, I get 1 sack a game, and I'm going to be working at Amazon," versus a edge, it's a different thing because he has to break into the cycle of the offense, beat you, get the play, and get to whoever he's trying to get to. So it's a different metric that you're trying to work with. And that the amount of energy that takes, you don't have that amount of energy if you're going to be out there the entire game because the offense is going 3 and out.
Oh no, and that's one thing that I agree with right there. Like I coached on a defensively led team, right? So our defense was the star of the show. It wasn't the offense. So we were the stepsisters. We were the redheaded stepchildren of the team. And I'll tell you this: if defense got to stop, and we didn't have to score, they would get upset if we didn't score because we scored, but because they got spoiled. But if we didn't at least double the time of possession that it took the defense to get the offense off the field, dog, the defense was chirping. Y'all better score. Don't waste our drive. Don't waste our drive. Like, defensive coordinator is like banging on the booth. Like, what are y'all doing over there? Run the ball. Stop passing the ball. You're about to throw us back on the field too quick. What are y'all doing? So I have been a part of a team where, and the head coach used to let that shit ride. Like, hey, they're the reason why we win. No, you need to run the ball. you guys are flipping us back on the field way too fast. Okay, we can beat these team. We can beat this team if you score twice. We used to go into games.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, like right now, we're led offensively because of Kyle, and I get it. However, when you're led defensively by a coach, the offensive game plan is, hey man, y'all need to score twice. That's how defense talks to offense. I need y'all to score 3 times. If y'all can score three times, we win this game. They not gonna score 3 times on us. Okay? So that's all we need from y'all. So when the offense don't produce and throws the defense back on the field, you already gonna cause dissension. Already. And I can only imagine. Can you imagine being a defensive player on this team?
Yeah.
And having to take the back seat to the offense whenever they finally get it together, all of a sudden, it's the offense. And it's like, bro, we are literally the engine of this entire thing. If we don't show up, that offense can't outshoot nobody. That offense can't get in a shootout. That offense can't play from behind. That offense can't score quickly. That offense don't got no deep threat. All right? You know what we dealing with over here? Defensively, I feel sorry for all of the frustration that they've had to deal with, honestly. And then on top of it, they get the most turnover. They lose coordinators year in and year out, and they still been producing.
Hey, so for me, I've been thinking about you were talking about what has to happen. I want to see some structural change here. Like I know we got quote unquote, offensive coordinator with Kubiak. They need to bring in like a real Kyle's issue in terms of coaching is he doesn't have a coach's voice. You know what I'm saying? Like he might be, real analytical and break you down mentally and make you feel stupid. He can do that.
Yeah.
But actually to get on somebody and dog somebody out, he can't do that. I seen him animated at times on the sideline, but he's not that dog of a coach.
He's reactionary. He's not. He's got to get mad enough to curse at you.
Right.
But he won't slow walk you down and tell you to your face.
Right. No. See, he needs that dude. Like, you know how if you had kids, like you yell at your kids, but you're not mad at them, but they have to think that you're mad at them so that you can get the reaction that you need.
I need you to read the room. Yeah.
Right. He needs to go and get himself an assistant head coach with a mandate to be the enforcer.
Well, Shills, I hate to do this, but Shills,
I'm telling you that
Shills. Let me tell you this: Kyle has been doing that for years. He did it with Saleh. He did it with DeMeco Ryans. He even did it with Coach Wilkes when Coach Wilkes didn't even want to do it. They had to bring Coach Wilkes from the booth, and Kyle forced him to be the motivator of this team. That's why I want Coach Saleh back, because I believe that bringing Coach Saleh back, the team has a soul again.
No,
you have a spiritual leader.
What I'm saying is that this past year, they did not have that. John Lynch had to step in and try to do that on occasion. That's crazy. He's a general manager. Like, that's front office. He's not supposed to be doing all that.
Yeah.
So when I'm saying structural change, I don't mean in terms of a deviation from the norm of the past. I'm talking about recognizing, okay, we need someone who can come in here and regulate these dudes, not just on the defense, across the board, who's got that mandate. I talked about that Rizzi, the special teams dude out of with New Orleans. If he gets the job there, then all right, that's fine. If he gets the head coach job down there. If he doesn't, that's the dude to get. And the reason I say that, like the first thing that stood out on me when I was watching, I don't see any Saints games. I'm watching the Saints game, like, who's that dude? Cause you see he's looking hot, like animated. I'm like, oh man, he's about to hurt somebody. And then they kind of zoom in on him. You see his cauliflower ear. And I'm like, oh no, he really could hurt somebody. You need to have somebody like that come in here, like Saleh, DeMeco, or whoever. But somebody who people think like, oh man, this dude might actually put their hands on me if I'm doing whatever. And somebody who will feel motivated to do that if you're out there walking in practice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I'm like, that walking in practicing, boy, you know, there was never a time that your coaches would have tolerated you walking in practice. Like, there was no walking anywhere, ever, for anything. Like, walking is just like, I don't know, I can't even explain it how offensive that was for me, seeing it at the beginning of the year, and then think like, oh, this isn't good. You know?
No, I mean, well, I'll say that I agree with everything that you're saying as far as this culture is concerned. You know, like we talked about, the Devondre Campbell situation was something that was big. Brandon Ayuk short gate was crazy, right? You know, that was dumb.
That was stupid.
Yeah. In my opinion, I feel as though that they all need a break. That's why it's important for you to bring rookies onto the team because, quite frankly, sometimes your voice gets stale as a coach. And if you're going to stay somewhere for 9 years, you got to get rookies in there where, to be quite honest, they've never heard the jokes before. They've never heard the sayings before. Yeah. They've never heard the story. I hate to put it that way, but it's just the truth. I got coaches and old coaches that I go back and I visit, and they're saying the same stuff that they were saying when I played. And it's just, but after a while, your shtick and your rhetoric, it gets old. And if you're not, one of the sneaky reasons why coaches love competition is because I can't keep telling you all of these motivational stories. I only got like 10 of them. I've known you for 6 years. You got to get out of here so I can start using this crap on somebody else who's never heard it before. Like, so, the funniest thing is that I think that Kyle needs rookies. They got to replenish the youth. They have to replenish the standard. And this year, I want to see if they want to reload or they're trying to come in with a new mindset. I'll be interested to see that. Close me out with something, man.
Ooh, all right, so first of all, I like Brock Purdy. They're going to resign him. The money, the APY doesn't matter.
Right.
So everyone is focused on that and talk about how much Patrick Mahomes made 4 years ago when he was the number one paid.
It doesn't matter.
Paid player of the league, and he was making about 142% of what Dak Prescott was making then. So he'd be making like $5 million now. So let's just like stop for a second. That doesn't matter. What I would like to see is I'd like to see an investment in the offensive line. That's the best way to improve the defense is with the offensive line, so that the offense can actually be productive. The defense actually gets a break. I'd also like to see them go ahead and draft Leonard Riley, I think it is, out of Notre Dame. There's some Leonard Riley came to one of these things with the I think it was Purdy, Garcia, Young, and Smith were having a little panel discussion. Leonard Riley came out to that discussion before he transferred over to Notre Dame, had his little comments about any advice they could give for a rookie quarterback. And, so there's already...
You mean Riley Leonard?
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Leonard, Riley, if you got 2 first names and I flip them around, my bad.
It is what it is. I butcher names on this channel on the regular. You're good to go, Shills.
I think that's it. I think I want to consider drafting him if the pick looks right. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. 6'4", 216. I'd like to give him a look.
For the competition. I think it'd be a good competition for Brock. And you're in a situation where he doesn't have to come in and perform immediately. If you get Brock on a 5-year deal with a 2 to 3 year out, he has a chance to come in and develop. If Brock's still your guy, you've got a trade asset.
Right.
If Brock's not your guy, you've got the guy who can come and step in. I don't know where anyone else went to school, but I can tell you for sure, Joe Montana went to Notre Dame. So I don't know, 49ers, Notre Dame, there's some good, as you say, vibes are off at the beginning of the year. There's some good vibes here with the Niners and Notre Dame. So
hey, man, 238, he threw for 2,383 yards, 66.5 completion percentage, 18 touchdowns, 6 picks, rushing average of 5.6 yards a carry, and he runs a 4.5, 6'4", 216 senior out of Notre Dame. Oh, we got ourselves a country boy, too, Fairhope, Alabama. I'm going to give him a look. Dual threat guy. I want to be able to give him a look, see what he can do. Hey, love the call. Shills, call back in, bro.
All right, take you when I can, bro.
Thank, brother. All right, hey, we got Bay Area Kev, then we got Chardol, Dre Day, and then we closing out with Gammon. Bay Area Kev, what's good, bro?
What's up, man? How you doing, Coach?
I'm good, brother. Talk to me.
Man, bro, you've been cooking this whole stream. But hey, I'm gonna stick with the original question you asked earlier. What disappointed me the most about this season?
Yes.
I'm gonna just tell you, I got 3 C's, man. Culture, coaching, complacency, bro. I think that's what killed
Damn.
us this season. Um, to the coaching point, like, I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but throughout this season, I found myself like I could just tell when the Shanahan special was coming during the first half of a game, man. Like
Okay.
if we lost the toss and we got the ball first, um, I already knew. I was like, oh, here we go. Like, cause
Yeah.
he just his offense is only built to go one direction, front run, get the ball in the second half, and build off a lead. And the pivotal point for me was you remember when we played Minnesota, and Sam Darnold had that like 98-yard pass to Justin Jefferson from his own
My
end
do
zone.
I?
You remember that?
Yeah.
So the play before that, it was 4th and goal. We were on their goal line, and we didn't run a QB sneak. Didn't run Jordan Mason up the middle. Kyle called a screen pass to Debo Samuel that almost got picked off by Andrew Van Ginkel, which was like an outrageous play call. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, we're gonna lose. We were only down like a score at the time. Once Justin Jefferson scored, it kind of turned into like a blowout. But like stuff like that, man, I mean, I don't even know what to expect from this dude anymore. It
Yeah.
just seems
It
like
was
every
a
year's
turn.
the same.
Okay, so I see what you're talking about. What we got 97-yard pass on 2nd and 9 off of Minnesota's 3 from Sam Darnold to Justin Jefferson for a touchdown. I know exactly what you're talking about. The drive before that, it was a 15-play drive for 88 yards for 9 minutes and 18 seconds. That drive got turned over on downs. It was a 4th and 2 on Minnesota's 2. Brock Purdy threw an incomplete pass to Jawan Jennings that almost got picked off by a Van Ginkel. Yep, and Harrison Smith. I remember that. And that was a deflating part of the game. It's like, and I'm so glad you brought that up, Kev, because this is what we're talking about. It's when me and Shills were bringing this up, the call before, is that if you look at that, look at how the game started in that drive. Niners get the ball first. First drive, 3 plays, 7 yards, 1 minute and 35 seconds. There's a pass to Brock Purdy to Kyle Juszczyk. There's a pass for Brock Purdy to Brandon Ayuk for 2 yards. The pass to Kyle Juszczyk was a pass for 5 yards, and a pass that was incomplete to Debo Samuel. You're giving me so much deja vu right now. That I remember during that live stream, I was livid that the first drive of that game, we threw the ball 3 times in a row. 3 freaking times in a row. And then, this is what I mean. Defense comes out. Now, mind you, this is against the Vikings. Defense comes out after that drive, all right? They take the Vikings 9 plays, 33 yards, 3 minutes and 54 seconds, and a punt, okay? Then, the Niners, they come back and put up a 4-play drive, all right? And it takes us 7 plays into the game to run the ball for the first time of the game. And then we had a blocked punt. Defense comes back out, 5-play drive, 20 yards, and they still only give up a field goal off of a 20-yard field. The blocked punt, they recover the ball on the block punt on our 24-yard line. The defense still managed to hold Minnesota to a field goal. Guess what we did the very next drive? Turnover on downs. 15. It's like the offense continuously screws the defense over.
Yeah, I that's why I think like I feel like I love that you're still getting fired up talking about week 2, man. Like because I just feel like that's what I'm talking about, complacency, man. It's from the organization and the fan base. Like this has become so much more of like a why team instead of a why not team. Like when people talk about moving off of Shanahan or moving off of players who we consider part of the core of the team, which I don't know how you got a core that's 15 like 30-year-old players, but like it's always like, well, how are you gonna fire him coming off a Super Bowl last season? It's like, bro, like how many times we got to see this?
Yeah.
We went 5 years. We went from losing 10 plus in regulation in the 2019 Super Bowl to 5 years later we got back to the Super Bowl and we lost again, but this time it was in overtime. Are we talking like moral victories or like what are we really talking about? What's even the standard anymore? Because I know it's not Super Bowls if they're going to keep everything in place.
Yeah. I just, I'm Kev, I'm so sorry. You are blowing me away with this game. I'm like just reliving this Vikings
My
game,
bad, man. You
bro.
got PTSD and shit.
Yeah, and I'm looking at like first drive punt, second drive block punt, third drive turnover on downs. Then that's when they throw to Justin Jefferson for 2 plays, 98 yards touchdown. All right. Then they get the ball again. The offense gets the ball right back. Turnover on downs. Again. Right after that.
I don't know if you remember, but during that game, like after week 1 against the Jets, where we were just it wasn't nothing flashy, but we were just running the ball down their throats, completely dominating them, right? And a
Right.
lot of people going into week 2 against the Vikings, because Shanahan, obviously we lost to Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell last season with Kirk Cousins. And so people were looking, the two guys that Shanahan has never beat as the OC or head coach is Brian Flores and Jim Schwartz as DCs. So I
I
think
don't
a
think
lot
he's
of
beat
people were
Spags
looking.
either.
Oh yeah, well that goes with, man. You didn't have to bring that shit up. Now you got me traumatized. Damn. But but anyway, you know what I mean. So I think a lot of people were trying to see, man, is Shanahan gonna adjust? Which now we're talking about again. Now talking about next season, but
Mm-hmm.
is he gonna be like a more of a fourth down coach? Is he gonna have more complimentary play calling? And every time we say this, he doesn't. So that's why I'm like, how long can you coast off of the season before when it's not like we're not talking about you won a Super Bowl and then went 6-11 and what are we gonna do? You lost a second Super Bowl. And we always talk about Purdy like, oh, Purdy could do whatever. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just as an example, right? We always talk about, oh, of course Purdy can put up these numbers and do this shit because the team around him. Any quarterback could jump in here and do this well. If you took last year's roster and offered it to 10 former head coaches that got fired recently, you don't think they felt like they could have took that team to a Super Bowl and probably
Yeah.
won it?
Yeah.
Like that's
That
what I'm
yeah,
saying.
the
Like,
fact that we were so hurt that we couldn't put together a good season is cap.
yeah,
That's one of the worst takes of the season. I
nah,
don't want to hear
there's no
that.
way, man. There's no
Yeah.
way, man. And I mean, and especially like his whole responsibility is the offense, right? So you look at Andy Reid, you look at a Kevin O'Connell, or even I guess you could say to a lesser extent like Kellen Moore with Philly this year.
Right.
They can, based on who is injured or who their skill position guys are any given year, they can go from a little dink and dunk, run, you know, play action offense, or they can go to like a straight air raid offense. You see them go to like a spread offense, almost like it's college sometimes. They pivot and adjust to put their quarterback in the best situation with the tools they have at their disposal. And Shanahan's never gonna do that, man. Like, I don't understand why people keep acting like we owe him some sort of like benefit of the doubt at this point. Like, are we really like that much of like bootlickers as fans? We're just like thanking him, like kissing his feet for winning some playoff games. We have nothing to show for it, dog. Like that's where I'm at.
Yeah, but
Like,
I also feel like, you look at it from a position of we have nothing to show for it. So you don't like you're not a fake it till you make it type of dude. Right? It's like either it is or it ain't. Period. You got to understand, there's a lot of fans and a lot of people inside the and a lot of people inside of the building where it looks good to be runner up. It just looks good. So one thing you have to understand is that, sometimes keeping up with the Joneses and having the illusion of being involved is something that, the fan base, that the organization, they take advantage of. They're going to take advantage of it. So I understand that they're always going to be in the position of we're trying to get a Super Bowl. We're always want to be trying to get a Super Bowl. But this year kind of let the cat out the bag, man. Like, if they're not in a position where they can look good while winning, they're not going to try hard. They're not going to put their best foot forward. And also, guys who get paid are going to play. It's not about winning. That's one thing I noticed this year, too. There's no way in the world. Deebo Samuel, with the production that he put out this year, it is wild that he got as many touches as he did last year. We should have saw Ricky Pearsall a lot sooner than we did. But if you notice, a Ricky Pearsall, Jawan Jennings, and George Kittle offense means that Deebo Samuel basically has nowhere to go. You know what I'm saying? Kev, love the call. I know you got a little bit of technical difficulties. You know what I'm saying? But we'll move on to the next caller. We're gonna get Shardall up, Dre Day, then we're gonna close out with Gammon. Ryu Ken as hey coach, you're gonna do a play-by-play today for the games? No, I'm gonna do the play-by-play for the divisional round, the championship round, and then the Super Bowl. It's just a lot of wild card games. Guys, I just want a weekend off, honestly. I'm tired as hell. Like I just need a break. You know what I'm saying? The watch show parties, they take a lot out of me. Pause. But I just need to be able to, just get a break and then be able to move on. I'm not too good for the wild card game. Look. Here come Big Kitty Games. I love the wild card games. I just want to actually watch them. All right. So let's go ahead and get Shardall up, and then we're going to get Dre Day up. Shardall!
Hey, coach, man.
First of all, thank you so much for your patience, Shardall. What's up, brother?
Hey, it's great being on your show, man. I love everything you do. I love your content, your videos, man. I love everything you do on the channel. You bring some great people on here. I like to hear what they have to say. You had some really great callers before I came on.
Yeah, they were awesome.
As a diehard Niner fan, I mean, like, sometimes the Niners look highly consistent, and sometimes they don't look so consistent. I mean, but in order to win more football games, the Niners have to be as consistent as they can.
Okay.
They can't be inconsistent, because if you're inconsistent, you're not going to win games. That's not how it works in football.
Understood.
So, yeah. And secondly, I think the 49ers are not going to trade Brock Purdy.
No,
because if they trade Brock Purdy, that's going to be a big blow to the whole Niners community if they trade Brock Purdy. If they do.
Yeah, it just wouldn't look good to the locker room, to the fan base. I really believe that they're encamped around him. They understand he's their guy. I believe them when they say it. Brock Purdy is their guy. I believe it.
It's kind of like if Steph Curry left the Warriors. Kind of same idea.
Right. Exactly.
If Steph Curry left the Warriors, how would that feel?
If Steph Curry, hold on, wait a minute. You just slid that past.
Nobody would not watch games.
Wait a minute.
Steph Curry left the Golden State Warriors, nobody would watch any games. I would not go to the arena because I want to see Steph Curry play.
So you said that trading Brock Purdy would be the equivalent of
if you traded Steph Curry.
I'm gonna let you cook, man. That's why you my guy. Go ahead, Shardall. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You got it, Shardall. Go ahead, man.
Because Brock Purdy's a star of the Niners, Steph Curry's a star of the Warriors. So I wanted to make that comparison, basketball comparison, man. I like going on, comparing things like that.
That's what I mean. Shardall, kick your feet up, man. Etsu casa mi casa, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Relax, brother. When you come on here, all of your takes are welcome because you are Shardall, man. You one of the OGs of this chat thing, baby. So if Shardall thinks that, the equivalent of Brock Purdy being traded is aligned with Steph Curry being traded from the Warriors, you go right ahead. You knock yourself out, Shardall.
Thanks for giving me the floor. I really like
you got the floor, baby.
Thanks for giving me the floor, man. I really like that. You're the OG. You always give me the floor.
Hey, man. Do your thing, bro.
You're the OG, man. You're the legend.
Hey, man.
Like,
look,
I'm a legend on the Cone Phone. You're the legend on the Coaches Huddle.
That's what I'm saying. Hey, and you know what? Hey, I'm just trying to be a legend in your legend world, Shardall. That's what this is all about. Two legends, legendarily speaking, right? If we had Quan Alexander, this would be the legendary podcast. It's just legends all over the place. I'm about to play Legends of Zelda after this. Just legends all over. We legends, baby.
So the 49ers are going to be in the Super Bowl at Levi's next year, Super Bowl 60. Who do you got making the Super Bowl 60 at Levi's?
Sardo, if you're on the phone and I'm on the phone and we're talking about Super Bowl freaking 60, then we're talking about the Niners being in there, Super Bowl 60, dog. Sardo, this is a 100% Shardall call. So ain't gonna be no Niners slander Chardall
no
call.
on
So
this call.
Chardall,
There will be no Niner
hey, guess
slander.
what? Just to let you know how much of this is a Chardall call. Guess who I got the Niners playing or in Super Bowl 60? Ask me who they gonna play.
Who are they gonna play? Tell me.
The Niners. It's gonna be the Niners versus the Niners.
On this show,
That's how much of a great Super Bowl that's gonna be. This gonna be the Chardall Super Bowl of all Super Bowls.
on this show, there will be no Shanahan slander. There will be no Purdy slander. There will be no Debo slander. Do not slander all three of those people. Those three are my guys. Kyle Shanahan's my coach. Brock Purdy's my quarterback. Debo Samuel's my wide receiver, baby. Let's go, Debo Samuel, man. Whenever I go on the court, man, Debo's my guy, baby. That's my guy right there, man. That's my freaking guy right there, man. Debo is my. Every time I go on the field, I go like I see people sitting around me. I say, they say, who's your guy? Debo's my guy. That's my guy right there. I don't care if he's Debo Samuel Sr. I don't care if he's wearing number 1. I'll root Debo as much as I can, man. Debo's my freaking guy.
Hey, dog.
Debo Samuel all day.
This has been another great call brought to you by the two legends, Chardall and Coach. Chardall, give me some closing words, man. You got Coach, 5 seconds.
It's great coming on your YouTube channel, man. You're the OG. You're the legend. Keep getting more callers on your show. Make it big on YouTube. I'm trying to make it big on YouTube. I'll shout out my channel before I leave the stream. My YouTube channel is SGA Sports Talk channel. I'm at 292 subscribers right now. I'm trying to get to 300. I'm 8 subscribers away from 300. Make sure to click that like and subscribe button for my channel. Make sure I get to 300 subs. And then I'm planning to do a Hangout stream. And I would love to have you on my Hangout stream.
1,000%.
I would love it, man. You got the
I don't
fire.
want this to get caught up.
If we do a Hangout stream, you're gonna bring the fire to my Hangout stream.
I do not want this to get lost in the banter. Chardall has a channel. It's on his name right here at SGA Sports Talk channel. Those of you that are here within the sound of my voice, please get over to Chardall's channel. Give him a subscribe. Give him a follow. Like his videos. Chardall is a really good guy, and I just want to be able to just have that official overture. Blow his channel up. Chardall, I love
Coach,
you.
It was great being on, and I'll definitely call in next time I get the chance.
My man, talk to you, Chardall.
See you later, man. See you later, Coach. Have a great rest of your day.
My guy. Now, we got 2 callers left, but we got one guy that's been ducking and dodging me for the past couple of weeks. Dog, hey, now look, my man, we gonna bring you up. You know what I'm saying? I know you got a lot to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Hey, we gonna try to get through this show. All right? But this is a safe space. All right? This is a safe space. Let's get my man in here. This motherfucker. Dre Day, what's good, cuz? Yo.
What up, cuz? Hey, man. I just want to say thank you for having me on your show. I've been busy with work a lot, but even though you don't see me, I am watching the 4-man front and all the guys. I've just been busy with real life stuff. But what's up, Niner Nation? Much love from the East Coast. Much love from New York, man. Man, your channel is blowing up, and I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
I think we got to do something in the first round. We got to be aggressive and get an edge rush, or get an offensive lineman to replace Trent Williams. Okay. Like Will Campbell, or we could get another offensive lineman. If not Will Campbell, somebody else. But I would go for edge, right? I would trade with the Patriots or with the Carolina Panthers, since we are a part of the top 10. And I would trade with them and get like the edge, like Michael Williams, or get Mike Green. I heard Mike Green is actually his talent is a first round for edge. But I think he's listed at second round. He might be a steal, in other words. But there may be one or two jewels on defense that we can get if we trade up aggressively in the first round. But I think some type of aggression has to occur in the draft to enhance our defensive line. We can also enhance it, in the free agency. But I think that's going to be mainly through the draft and beginning to add some youth. You know what I mean? Oh man, so much to say. But I really wish Kyle, wasn't coming back, right? But I think we all knew that he was. That nepotism stuff is real. I think that he does benefit from the legacy of his father, and that ties into the relationship with Jed York. Jed York is a short guy. He's privileged. He's afraid. He's afraid of Kyle Shanahan.
Hey, Dre, you're doing good. You're doing good, Dre. That's all I'll say. I'll encourage you. Dre, you're doing a phenomenal job right now. Go ahead, continue.
The relationship with Jed York and Kyle Shanahan we'll need to investigate after the Shanahan leaves, because I think it's a Netflix documentary worthy.
Okay.
Because he's scared of Kyle Shanahan. To put it to him, it's clear. He wasn't with an 8-8 Jim Harbaugh, which is interesting.
Okay.
And that brings me to the notion that we need a rah-rah coaches, no matter where they are or what type of coach it is, assistants, OCs or DCs. We need some type of rah-rah on staff since we're running it back. I think John Lynch is great, but Kyle Shanahan is in the way. Christian McCaffrey won't ever be the same coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if we go running back first round. Neither
would I, man.
To continue this Ricky Parcell twitchy era of Kyle's offense. Ashton Jeanty comes to mind. He's predicted by the media to go to the 49ers. I think he's an LSU Tiger. Don't quote me, but number 11, we're at number 11 as far as I know today, and we're projected to pick a running back. So I don't know how that's going to enhance our defensive line or help our defense, because we need to draft that. And we got to be aggressive, because if we cherry pick, we might land a first round OT or edge. But that's not going to be enough. We might have to. We need to put ourselves in position to take 2 first round picks, and being aggressive in the first round. Could address not a lot, but it'll plug in, a lot of big loopholes, which is we need a big stopper at D line, and we need we need a killer at O line. You can only get that aggressive in the early first rounds.
All right.
That's pretty much where I'm at, man. Kyle Juszczyk, I don't expect Juice to be back. Deebo Samuel needs to be cut, not traded. I just don't see him as a wide receiver getting separation. But there's relationships on this team between Kittle, Jed York, Deebo, Kyle, that keeps the nucleus together. And unfortunately, Deebo is a part of that nucleus. He's stubborn, and we're going to lose yards, and we're not going to progress as an offense as long as he's on the roster. Trent Williams is in the way. Got to replace him in the draft, man. This regime is going to be an offensive, twitchy, lighthearted type of football team moving forward. We don't have rah-rah philosophies and coaches like Jim Harbaugh. So I think whether it's Shannon, even after Shannon, I don't think that we'll get that rah-rahness back. Jed York culture, he doesn't like that rah-rahness. So I don't see a rah-rah coach coming to the 49ers in the near future, including after the Kyle Shanahan regime. And I wish you were in the press. I wish you were able to ask questions directly to Kyle. And I love the fan base. You have a lot of support. The season was bad, but you know what? We can always make it up, but I doubt it because we don't draft correctly. Again, I'm thinking we're going running back first round, which is only going to boost Kyle's ego to come up with more strategic plays, and it's not going to address the defense. Free agency, there's some senior linemen that we can get from the Ravens and Chargers. but we would probably have to pay a lot of money with the cap hit with Deebo Samuel. I don't know if we'll have that, right? So that leads us back to the draft to get these stud offensive linemen and defensive linemen. The draft is going to the free agency is going to be expensive because there are some killers, some seniors, some 27-year-olds, some 24-year-old linemen from the Chargers and Ravens alike that can be available if we get aggressive. We have to be aggressive in our negotiations, draft and free agency.
So let me ask you a question, Dre. Let me ask you a question. I'm gonna break it up a little bit. I've seen you giving us both sides of it. You've given us free agency, you're giving us draft. You've also talked about moves that you'd like to see inside of the organization. All of these have been great points, brother. My biggest question to you is I want you to prioritize some of this for me. So with what you've talked about thus far, I want you to give me your 3 biggest points, and I want you to prioritize those points for me. So what's most important, first to last, first 3 points, go.
The first thing, I'm just going to face reality. For some reason, Brock Purdy is going to be here for the long term. I don't know if it's because of his relationship with the fan base and or Kyle, but I'm just trying to give these realistic 3 points. Since we're going to keep the kid, whether we renegotiate him or not or whatever, I expect that he's going to be here for the next 5 to 10 years. Since we're going to keep him, build that O-line. So in the free agency, I'm going to make sure that if I can financially, I go ahead and get a stud at left tackle or get a proven offensive lineman to replace that experience with Trent Williams for my offensive line. And then
all right, secondly, so that's one. You want to get that O-line together. That's awesome. Give me 2.
Number 2 would be I'm still in the free agency, and I'm looking to sign some horses, some running backs for my stable to keep Kyle Shanahan happy with his twitchiness and his mobile running backs, putting them in the wide receiver slot to run hitch routes. That'll replace the philosophy and the usage and the utility behind Christian McCaffrey. I'm going to do that aggressively on my own, whether Kyle Shanahan likes it or not. I'm going to get a running back or 2 and say, hey, we don't need to waste picks on running backs in the draft. We've got I did this on my own, Kyle, and leave these running backs on the roster. They're young. Whoever these running backs may be, there's always running backs in the free agency. They're literally horses. I appreciate their work. They're men, but thinking of Kyle, we'll just go in free agency and get running backs. We'll get at least 2, and we'll get a premier lineman. Now, finally, number 3, we go aggressively on defense in the draft. I mean, there may be just one pick on all. There may be just one pick. I mean, every single pick is going to be defense. I'm literally, as an owner, going to be aggressive and get a first rounder edge whose talent says he is a first rounder, even if he's short, 6'2" and above. I'm getting my first 2 picks in the first. What I'm going to do, number 3, is I'm going to trade up and make sure that the 49ers have 2 picks in the first round, and those 2 picks are going to be on defense. That's it.
Hey, man, Dre.
And after that, I'll go corner and stuff like that. But that's the best way to bring us back to the Super Bowl or to the conference finals. That's the fastest way.
Dre, I love the call. First of all, thank you so much for your patience, man. You came in with good points. You gave me amazing energy. I love your energy. I love your energy. And look, call it next week. Next week so we can go ahead, because I like what you said about going heavy on defense in the draft, but going heavy in the free agency to go get that stable of backs, which we know are going to get hurt, and we need to go get them anyway. Patrick Taylor Jr. should have been used more this year. Hey, man, love the call. Holla at you, man. Hey, my guy,
yes,
reporting from Fallujah out of Baghdad with his background. What's good, Gavin?
I'm doing great, brother. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. Talk to me, man. What has disappointed you the most this season?
Honestly, I'm going to say the free safety position. I already knew what we were going to be getting in the trenches and everything like that. And I haven't seen it really brought up that much, but we really need like an amazing free safety.
Mm-hmm.
We do, and we need to. I when I saw like Ed Reed, right? Ed Reed and the linebackers there. It's so nice to have that kind of that compliment. I want that Ronnie Lott kind of guy. I want our Earl Thomas. I want our Ed Reed, our Brian Dawkins. I want that rangy free safety who can kind of give that 1-2 punch. Imagine if Fred Warner didn't have to worry about what's going on behind him, and he could only concern himself with everything that's going on in front of him. I just think that would be something that's amazing there. But Coach, you've been asking me or asking us all these questions. I want to ask you a couple questions.
Great.
Okay. So for the off-season, we've been talking a lot about their off-season goals. What are some of yours? And you're so close to 20,000 subs. Is that one of your goals for next season? Congratulations, by the way.
Number one, thank you. Number two, if you want me to get personal on the stream, it's cool. We can do it. I don't have a goal. If I wake up tomorrow and I never get another sub, I'm happy. If I wake up tomorrow and I got 25,000 subs, great. I feel like subscribers and views, they're important to a fault. They're metrics that help you understand the growth of the channel. But I don't put any onus on the growth of the channel on the content of the channel, right?
So you're not popping a mini bottle of champagne if you hit 20K subs tomorrow?
No, I'm not. Because I don't. There's people that have came to me and told me about like how fast the channel has grown and how remarkable it is. But the truth is that I do not record unless I know that the followers are going to get the coach, unless they're going to get me, right? So I'm not going to grift. This is not going to be a reactionary channel where every breaking news story is going to be on this channel. It's not. If I don't care about something, I'm not posting it. If I think that something is not newsworthy, I'm not posting it. You know what I mean? I think that the longevity, thank you, Jay Odyssey, of this YouTube thing is being a real person. Like having people be able to look into the camera and be like, I know this dude. I know Coach. And I feel as though that's the special part of this platform, is that I'm not putting on airs. This is really who I am. And look, brother, if I can just keep being myself on this thing, man, we could look up and the number could be something that's out of this world. But at the same time, that doesn't drive me.
Exactly. That's something I'm really, really glad about too, Coach. If any of you guys in chat, you get a chance to catch a 49ers game and you run into Coach in person, you're going to find out that it's not a facade. This is actually who this man is. And I really like that he's not coming on here, putting on a dog and pony show just to razzle up the guests or people that are on here. I did have another question for you, and I kind of wanted to see how your take is on this. And then after that, I'll salute and get off the air. This one would be Peyton Manning in his prime. How much do you think he would be worth per year? Or how much do you think the market would be for Peyton Manning in his prime?
No less than 80, probably 80 million a year. Peyton in his prime?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Peyton's my favorite quarterback.
He's mine too. He couldn't run, leave the pocket at all, or really do anything. He did everything mentally, right? Kind of played the game at a chess level. His ability to audible in and out, that mental game that you'd have with Ray Lewis was always just, must-see TV. My question to you, Diz, is how much do you think he would be worth if he wasn't allowed to call audibles in the same manner that Kyle Shanahan doesn't allow Purdy to call audibles? How much do you think that would detract from his game, his overall performance?
Oh, man. Well, it's kind of everything. It's a little bit of what made Peyton Manning. He's always been a coach on the field. If you think about that aspect of his game, Peyton Manning has been calling audibles and calling his own plays since high school. That's a fact. Peyton Manning was calling his own offense in college in Tennessee. He He was calling his own plays. I don't think we get Peyton Manning if it doesn't get trusted. I think who he is as a person and his intellect allowed coaches to trust him to be able to give him that type of ownership over the offense. But there's not a world that I know that Peyton Manning could exist in if he's literally just calling plays that are just given to. I don't see that at all. Peyton Manning was given ownership of the team. I think some of the most revolutionary things that we know about I think that Peyton Manning doesn't get enough credit for elevating the quarterback position from a cognitive standpoint, where you started understanding that, Dan Marino was one of them, in my opinion, where you're going to get 2 to 3 plays, a play. And you know what I mean? And you're going to be able to call that play and understand that there's like 3 to 4 audibles off of that and challenging your guys to know it. Right? Like you won't play with me if you don't know these things. I think that Peyton Manning is class personified as far as that position. And I think that's really his calling card and his true gift to the game was, I think, just his ability to multitask at the position where it's like, I'm not a linear thinker. I'm a horizontal guy. You can give it to me in all different facets. Hold on.
Yep, absolutely. And so for the rest of the chat, I guess that's kind of my take on this is I'm not sure how much Brock Purdy is worth or how much he should be paid. But if he's a $30 million quarterback, he probably is a $30 million quarterback. But if he's allowed to call out of some bad calls, or if he sees something on the line of scrimmage and he's not able to adjust or make that call to get out of a bad call, we don't get to see that brilliance of a Brock Purdy, or we don't get to see him make those changes. So I would hope that in this contract, is Brock Purdy gets a chance. Maybe he's a $30 million quarterback with his body, but maybe he's a $45 to $50 million quarterback with his mind. And we're hamstringing him by now allowing him to use his best asset. But other than that, I'm going to get out of here. Chat, you guys were amazing. Don't forget to apply for your real IDs by 7th of May this year, or else it's going to be a lot hard to fly around or do some other things. Coach, you're amazing. Love seeing this channel grow. Let's go. Bang, bang.
Bang, bang, man. Hey, Gammon's my guy, bro. Hey, let's get this last super chat out of the way. Spider, draft Drew Allard. That's if Drew Allard declares. We don't know. Guys, another great call-in show in the books. I want to thank all of the callers for calling in. And yes, we will be having live watch show parties, but we will be going to the divisional round of the playoffs, the AFC and NFC championship game in the playoffs, and then the Super Bowl. That is how we're going to be calling the games. Guys, it's the coach. Stay low and keep your feet moving. Have a great day, guys.